Dollar Tree can be your secret weapon for creating high-end fall decor. These DIY projects add a touch of cozy on a budget. I'm Melissa, and this is Craft Crumbs. Thank you for joining me. Stick around until the end where I discuss this wild collection of little things, get your opinion, and talk about new plans for the channel. We're starting off strong, let me tell you. I forgot to record the first several steps of this DIY. I made this using a Dollar Tree wood blank and 5-gallon paint sticks. I'm going to grab the measurements here. The sides were 17.5 inches, and the end pieces were 5 3/4 inches. I used wood glue, any wood glue would do, to attach the paint sticks to the sides. I used tape to hold the paint sticks in place while the glue dried. To ensure this piece would stand the test of time, I wanted to brace the inside back corners and use tumbling tower blocks to do this. I'm not going to glue this second row of tower blocks down. I'm just cutting them down and placing them so you can see how I did this off camera. I had 3 of these lovely wood leaves from the Dollar Tree. I think there were 4 or 5 staples that I had to remove before I could get it out of the cardboard packaging. Now, these did have some wood beads and tassels on them. I removed those because we're not going to need them for this project. I started off giving each of the leaves a dry brush of white acrylic paint, and now I'm going in and giving another dry brush of antiquing wax. I'm going to set those aside to dry and work on the main base. Once again, just a light dry dusting of white acrylic paint. You can use chalk paint if you prefer. And then around the sides, I'm going to go over those with a brush in the antiquing wax, but I'll come back to those in a few minutes. Just to provide a little bit of contrast, I'm going to outline the edges of this wood piece. This way, if you hang it on a light colored wall, it'll stand out. I wanted to lighten up the sides a bit, so I'm going to go in with a little bit more white dry brushing to do just that. So I made the leaves look aged. Now I want to go back in after they've dried and reintroduce a little bit of color. Using just the same colors that were originally on them, but a little lighter shade, I'm going to once again just dry brush over. You'll still be able to see a peak of the white acrylic paint as well as the antiquing wax, and it really brings these leaves together nicely. Really makes them look high end. The leaves will have a nice sheen to them, which stands out from the more matte finish on the board. I know this video is moving pretty quickly, so here's a recap of how I applied the color. If you find yourself enjoying this video, give it a thumbs up. This lets YouTube know that the content is good enough to push out to other crafters. And if you come back time and time again, or completely new to the channel but haven't yet subscribed, go ahead and take a chance on me. You can always unsubscribe if you want to. I'm going to start to glue the leaves to the board. Now, these leaves had sort of a concave back side to it where there was a rivet or kind of a lower, well, you know what a concave is, right? Think about one of your cutting boards in the kitchen. So the center of the leaves required a little bit more glue than the outer edges. I'm using a micro brush to go around the edges and remove any glue seepage. This is what it looks like so far. Maybe I should have kept those outer edges darker. Let me know what you think. I like to make the back side of my projects look clean and finished. So I'm going to go in and just cover every little nook and cranny of this inside back part with white acrylic paint. I'm going to add a sawtooth hanger to another tumbling tower block and glue it so that the hanger is flush with the outer edge of the wood piece. And that way it will not stand out from the wall at all. It'll hang nice and flush. This can also be a shelf leaner. Here it is complete and staged as a shelf leaner. And here it is hanging on the wall in my kitchen. Oh my gosh, I so need to paint the walls in the kitchen. Isn't it funny how you have to take a photo of something to see how mortifying it is? Here's a closer look at the detail. Let me know in the comments what you think about our first fall DIY using Dollar Tree products. I have one of these little propagation stations, or at least I think that's what it is. I've seen TikTok and YouTube videos where people are using it to sort their makeup and paintbrushes. And this is my test. Yeah, no, it's not working as this. So we're going to DIY and make it something totally different. Let's get rid of this. Just kidding, I still have it. But we're not using it in this project, and I can assure you it would not sound like that if I threw it. It would sound like a tiny little thud on the floor because this thing is made of acrylic. I noticed it had a pretty sizable scuff mark, so if you're purchasing these, just be on the lookout for little blemishes like that. I want the acrylic box to have a lid, but something that looks more natural and high end. I had this crate in my stash, so I'm pulling it out and it will work, but it needs a little bit of adjusting. I'm using my handy ruler to mark where I need to cut. Now you can use an X-Acto knife, but it will take you a little while, I have to admit. Many passes. Even with a sharp blade, this thing was taking me several passes. But it can be done. I, however, couldn't be bothered to play with this mess because I have a tool that could make it easier. If you don't have a rotary tool, then just use whatever you have to cut these off. The X-Acto knife, I think, would be the last resort because it does take a little while. Now, you could score it with the X-Acto knife and then use a chisel and a hammer to chip off the areas that you don't need, but you'll see what I'm going to do with the rotary tool. I'm first changing out the sanding bit and replacing it with a cutting blade. I believe I picked these up from Amazon. If I did, I will link them down below for you. When you're doing this, just make sure that that booger is on there tight. What I typically do is I pull on the shaft to make sure that it's nice and secure before I turn it on. I'm starting off on just a very low speed, and you should too if you're not real experienced with these. So I started off on a very low speed of number 2, and I think I move it up as I go and become more comfortable with how it's cutting. There we go. Just turn it up a little bit more, and I turned it up a little bit more. You can work your way up to the faster speeds. Once those are cut off, I'm just going to go in with my sanding block and make sure everything's nice and smooth. Woohoo! It's not going anywhere. Look at that. Now I'm dipping into my stash of little handles. Should we call them love handles? I don't know. I just love all of these little handle options. I would have way more if it were up to me, but it's up to the budget. Once again, I'm running into a little bit of an issue. This is the handle that I picked out, but it is not going to go through. The screw is just too short. That's okay. We will modify. Whatever drill bit you have to open up the center part enough to let the bolt pass through. Here's what the inside looks like once the knob is attached. If this bothers you, you could certainly take one of these 1-inch wood discs that you can pick up at the Dollar Tree, and I think a pack of 6 or 8, and cover that up. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. In the fall, I love to have a place where I can put a display of dried flowers and potpourri together. The slats in the palette allow the scent to come through. It's a snug enough fit so that the lid will not fall off if it's bumped or moved. It smells so good. I wish this was smell-o-vision. Please let me know in the comments what you think about our second fall DIY using Dollar Tree supplies. Is this something you would try? Is this something you would keep or gift? At the start of each season, I make something for the coffee table. This is what I made last year. It was beautiful, but this year I want something that can carry me through Christmas as well. I had this Dollar Tree charger. I probably bought this charger 3 or 4 years ago and haven't seen it since, but you can use any charger that you have on hand. I covered the front and back of the tray with a matte black spray paint by Rust-Oleum. You can see some blemishes there on the top, and that's basically where I had put my fingers accidentally and then sprayed over it to fix those areas. I'm going to be using a few different shades of brown paint, and I'm cutting up one of these round sponges to use as an applicator. To get the rusty tray look I'm going for, I'm going to start pouncing on one color at a time and blending in the others as I go. I'm using black paint to soften the edges of the brown. Here I'm adding in this really rusty shade of brown. It's almost an orange shade, and this is almost not visible at all in the end project. So going back, if I had to do this again, I would totally skip this color. I want the final piece to have sort of a muted, rusty look, but there are several points in playing back this video that I thought I could have totally stopped and it would have been absolutely beautiful. I will say that when you're working with a bright light above you, it can be difficult to see what the actual project looks like. There were multiple occasions where I pulled it away from my desk, although I don't think you can see much, if any, of that, where I just kind of pull it off the table, turn my chair around, and look at it. But I still didn't have the best idea until I was playing this back as to what it was looking like as I was going. Here's an example of where I could have stopped and been very happy with the outcome of the tray, but I wanted to make it a little darker, so I'm adding in a smidge more black. I don't know when to stop on a project, but hey, if a little paint is good, then 3 pounds of paint must be amazing. To give it a touch of class, I'll go around the edge with metallic gold paint, and then I'll protect it with Rust-Oleum's high gloss top coat. Here it is complete. I've staged it here with a pumpkin that I made in a video last year. It was a Kathy Joe dupe. I'll put the link to that video in the description as well as at the end of this one. I think the high gloss sheen on this tray makes it look so rich. I'm excited to use this for fall as well as for Christmas. But I want to know what you think about our third fall DIY using Dollar Tree products. Who has these little baskets in their stash? Be honest. They're super cute. But for me, when I brought them home, I didn't know exactly what to do with them until now. I'm going to decorate the inside of each one of these baskets. I'll speed this up a little bit because it really doesn't take any kind of tutorial. We're just going to line this first one with Dollar Tree leaves and then fill in around it with other little goodies in the stash. So I'm done stuffing these baskets with all the fall bits and bobs, and I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna do to display these. I would love to daisy chain these together, but because the baskets are two different depths, it's not gonna hang right on the wall. So we're gonna attach a couple of tumbling tower blocks to the back of the baskets to create a stand, and these will just be cute little shelf sitters or tray sitters in areas where I need a little pop of autumn color. I cut 4 of the tumbling tower blocks at a 45-degree angle on one end. and glued two of them together to make one stand. So essentially, we have two stands that took four tumbling tower blocks to make. Out to glue the stand below the circle in the middle of the basket because that circle pops out a little bit. Now, anytime I have to add a generous amount of hot glue, I'm taking some kind of silicone tool and trying to smooth it out a little bit before it dries so it doesn't look so sloppy. I just don't want it to be bulging glue out the back there. I'm going to go ahead and attach the second stand to the second basket. But first, I had to remove a remaining piece of the sales sticker. Did you guys see how the stand on the first basket fell over? I guess I didn't hold it in place long enough. I want to make sure that does not continue to happen. So on this larger basket, I actually have the real estate to put a full tumbling tower block up underneath that stand to further brace it. And I felt a little more confident. I felt a lot more confident about it actually. For the smaller baskets, I don't have that real estate. So I'm going to take the scraps that came off the tumbling tower blocks when I cut them at an angle and wedge them up underneath the stand like this. And that holds just fine. Here they are complete. This one has the focal point of the squirrel. This one does not have as much of a focal point, if any. I wish it did. If you have a suggestion for something I can use as a focal point on this second basket, drop your idea down below for me. Here's a look back at what we created today. I think it's so sweet when we can decorate our homes with easy to find and inexpensive items from places like the Dollar Tree or a local thrift store. Let me know in the comments what you think about these fall DIYs and stay here for just another minute because I need your opinion on this. But first, let's talk about my YouTube schedule. When I first started my YouTube journey, I was posting videos every week because my work schedule allowed it. And then kaboom, my work schedule changed, leaving me with 3 to 4 hours of productive time every day. As a result, I've been posting videos for you every 10 to 14 days, but I want to do better. This is my projection for September. I'm going to post the calendar on my community page so that you can look at it more closely if you would like to comment or ask questions. Here is the stash of little things that I've collected over the last couple of years. Some of the things came from the Dollar Tree, some from Hobby Lobby, thrift stores, Amazon. It's a good mix. So, my question is this: do you have a stash of little things like this? And would you like some ideas on what to do with them? I can make it a Christmas themed video and we can try to make gifts, stocking stuffers, and ornaments out of these items. That's what I'm secretly hoping you'll want me to do. Or I can take your suggestions for something totally different with these. You can vote by visiting the link in the description box, which takes you to a poll that I have on my community page that will launch at the same time this video does. I genuinely want to bring content that you'll enjoy and feel inspired by. So please hop over to my community page and leave your vote. You've made it to the end of this video. Let me know who you are by leaving this emoji in the comments. I appreciate you so much. If you're looking for more crafty goodness from this channel, check out one of these videos next. Don't forget to like, comment, share this video with a friend, and subscribe if you haven't. And until next time, my friend, don't forget to craft what you love.